to do a live all morning, but it's so cold and I have a headache. I'm going to wait for you guys to get here as we begin. We are joined by Milo. I don't know if I can take my camera off of here and show you Milo. Just in the last couple days, I've decided to let Milo, oh, here he comes, let Milo join me in the office. Say hello. Come here. Right here. Hi, buddy. No dogs have been allowed the whole time I lived out here. Through my cancer, there were no dogs allowed. A, the hair. B, because biomagnetism, some people are allergic to animals. But because I'm not certain that I'm going to be, or I'm not certain when I'm going to be seeing people live in my office, I'm like, I'm letting Milo in. I need some company out here. So he is joining me. He's joining us. He's so funny. He knows I'm talking about him. So when you jump on the live, say hello. We're going to chat about what's going on in the world. Oh, thank you. I love the beanie too. Addie made that for me for Christmas. She crocheted it for me for Christmas. So super cold. My hair is a mess underneath this beanie. My hair is just, it's growing in and it's being very strange. Oh, the notification just came up. So looks like people will know that I'm here. So we're going to talk about things going on in the world, the TikTok ban, what it means, what it's created, the move to another Chinese app called Red Note, where you can find me on all of those things, my thoughts on the TikTok ban. I actually threw some cards this morning, so I'll share that with you guys. A super exciting project that I shared with my Hidden Wisdom group, will be sharing with my Charm Life group that I've been working on. I'll give you guys some hints. I'm not going to fully release it because it's not done. The meat and potatoes are done. The formatting's not done, but I've been working on a project all week. What else? How everything that's happening affects you. We're going to talk about that too. So if you are with me live, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, that's where I'm broadcasting right now. Share the live if you so choose and feel, comment, support. Let's talk. So with the impending TikTok ban, lots of people are afraid that it's going to go away. And I kept saying on TikTok, even last week, like, we have the ability to shift this and create it. Mass consciousness. Enough people get together to manifest the same outcome where we envision exactly what we want. I mean, it's one thing to do manifest on your own. Y'all know I've been a conscious manifester for damn near 30 years. I've been teaching it for 25 years. But here's the reality. We always try to manifest on our own, where even in the Bible, it says where two or more are gathered and agree on the same thing, it is, right? That's where the Bible talks about it. Not to mention all the other spiritual texts that talks about your mind creates your reality, right? Like, people are starting to get it. Good morning, Animal Alliance. Good morning, Paula. So when we gather together with another person, two or more, we can create things much faster. But on a mass consciousness level, when a big group of people come together and focus on what they want, not what they don't want. Because however people focus, like if we're focused on war and that drumbeat of war is happening, war's going to happen. If we focus on, oh my God, TikTok's going away, guess what we're creating? So I've made some posts on TikTok in the last couple of days that, like, literally hold the vision that we get a Hail Mary, right? Hold a vision. And that's what I've been telling people, reminding them, like, we have the power. And I think the impending threat of a TikTok ban has woken people up, because now there's a conversation of how much the use of TikTok for people has changed their lives, whether they're business owners or they're content creators or they're in the TikTok shop, blah, 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 selling stuff. Or there are people like me and you, if you happen to be on TikTok, if not, no big deal, but like that, use the app too to learn new things. I mean, I have cooked a lot of recipes that came from TikTok videos. I've tried a lot of things because I've seen them. My latest one is the Turkish pasta. I'm actually going to make some more later today. It's become my favorite go to the last couple of weeks. But we learn a bunch when an event happens, like the LA wildfires. That's in real time releasing stuff. Most of the news sources that I trust are independent journalists that broadcast on TikTok and social media like YouTube and whatnot, where it's not censored. I think the biggest part about this is us coming together and holding that vision and holding each other up and going, okay, we get Hail Mary. So this morning, I've been asking Spirit, and they keep saying, hold out hope, hold out hope. I threw some cards. I threw, I think, 4 different throws. And the first one, the way I asked the question, and here's the deal with tarot, the way I asked the question wasn't specific enough. So it kind of gave me a mixed answer. The second time I asked way more specific, and the answer was TikTok staying. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it to stay. And the 7 of Wands came up, which is sort of that battle card, right? Let me see if I can find the 7 of Wands in my deck for you guys to see. Of course not. The 7 of Wands is a good card because it does speak to battling, like standing up for your rights and battling. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it quickly enough to show you guys, but Spirit, make it jump out of my deck for real. Make my life easy. In any case, that came up. And then I asked 2 more times. One time, is TikTok going to go away? The answer was no. And that was for the next year. Like I gave it a specific time frame. The more specific you are on the length of time you're asking for something to come up, the better the answers are going to be. But finally, through another one with the time frame in it, will TikTok be sticking around for the next year? And the answer was yes. So we are going to get a Hail Mary. That's my thought. Hold on. I'm having massive allergies today. Woke up with a headache, and I don't know what the cedar count's doing, but man, my throat's kind of a mess too. So if I cough, I apologize in advance. Anyways, so I do think that TikTok's going to stay. And according to the cards that I got when I threw the tarot, it kind of backed up what Spirit was telling me. So as a clairvoyant, I always go with my intuition and what Spirit says first. But I do like to back it up so that it's not coming from, that's just my personal desire. I can confirm things and with the cards, or I can see that, no, this is all coming from your personal desire. So, but I have been getting, it'll stick around. So what have we learned this week with everyone moving to Red Note, and checking out that Chinese platform as a way to rebel against government and saying, screw you, if this is really about our data, which no one believes. If any of you have followed Senator Ed Markey, he went to the Senate floor yesterday and tried to get them to postpone the ban for 270 days. I don't know if any of you watched that. Put it in the comments if you saw that. And the Senate just flat out refused to even be reasonable with the whole thing. He's like, there has never been any evidence of the accusation that TikTok is a national security threat, right? The FBI has said we can't find a threat right now. So they've generated and made this whole thing up. Not that any of us are surprised. I'm not surprised because I think this whole thing started, and Trump's the one that started it at the end of his term when he was getting cozy with the billionaires, Zuckerberg and Bezos and Musk, right? The real reason for the ban is because it's not an American owned company. But like Zuckerberg and them, or he bought up Instagram and turned Instagram into crap. Like, I hate Instagram. No offense, but it's highly annoying to be on that platform. It's very, like, the comments over there, it's very charged emotional. Like, I don't feel good over on Instagram. Um when it comes to YouTube, the algorithm does not support smaller creators. TikTok has been the app that supports smaller creators. Like, anybody can have a voice over there. Anything can go viral and you can start a conversation over there, which is fabulous. That's what we want, right? We all want to have a voice. But they don't want us speaking about things. And isn't it ironic that all of these people in politics have TikTok accounts, but there's a national security threat? So we've learned that that's BS, that that's not the real reason. We've learned by going over to places like Red Note, not that I didn't already know this, I've known this for a long time, that China is far more advanced than we are technologically. They're years ahead of us, right? They manufacture so much of what we in America use. So to cut China off and to continue to call them a foreign adversary just seems a little questionable, aside from how much money we have borrowed from them, right? Last I saw, we can still freely travel to China and they can come here. All of this stuff that has happened over the last 8 years with the increase of xenophobia, racism, the increase of intolerance of any kind of, I want to say this properly, like there's homophobia beyond belief with the white nationalists and that whole agenda. And it's pushing more and more forward, right? Putting Bibles in schools and all this craziness. Literally, what we've learned by going over to Red Note is there's been a lot of propaganda about China and the Chinese people that wasn't true. Yeah, I watch a lot of K dramas, C dramas, Chinese dramas. I watch some Taiwanese dramas too, but my favorite are K dramas. Right now, I'm watching a C drama. Their culture, their history, and they've been around a lot longer than the US, thousands of years. They have a very, very respectful culture. They have a long history, and people are that have not left the United States and haven't opened their minds to embracing other cultures didn't know until something affected them, like the TikTok ban, and then they all flooded over there, and we were welcomed, generously welcomed over there. I agree. They have bullet trains. Some infrastructure's outdated, but they also have manufacturing and have us whipped in a number of areas. Absolutely. Yeah. I think people, especially here in the US, and some of the other countries, like some European countries, need to be more open-minded about things. This new shift and awakening that's happening as we enter into the Aquarian age, we're going to see more and more that we're more alike than we are separate. Those of you who've been following me for a long time, know in the last year I've been battling cancer using traditional means, chemo and radiation, something I said I would never do because I've been able to deal with this kind of stuff naturally up until this round. And I started it without insurance, right? Which was devastating because people don't want to deal with you if you don't have insurance. But I did finally get insurance. But those of you who followed me for a long, long time know in 2010, I herniated 3 discs in my neck. And in 2010, we didn't have disc replacement surgery, was not passed by the FDA here in the US. No surgeons were practicing it. So I did a thing and I went to India on what's called medical tourism visa and went over there and had surgery in an Indian hospital by a former Harvard teacher and neurologist, one of the top neurologists at Harvard, and then he moved back to a teaching hospital in Bangalore, India. So I went to Bangalore, India, and had my surgery, and it cost me for a month for traveling, me and my dad traveling, the surgery, hospital in a private suite, private, okay, for I think I was in the hospital for like 14 days. I know I got out early. So it might not have been 14 days. I'd have to look at my records. But the follow-up PT that they offer and hotel for the time that I wasn't in the hospital, $30,000 American. Here in the US, and I didn't have insurance then. I've been an entrepreneur since the 90s. So I didn't have insurance and I never went to the doctor. Literally, I went for my thyroid after getting neck surgery because they nicked my thyroid, which damaged my amount of thyroid available. However, I went there for 30 grand. Here in the US, I couldn't even get a quote of what it would cost to get fused, right? But there was a threat because I had bone spurs, osteophytes poking into my spinal cord. There was a threat that at any time those osteophytes would sever my spinal cord and I would be paralyzed from the neck down. Not a life that I wanted, not quality of life. Didn't want to put that on my kids. This is back in 2010, like almost 15 years ago, right? Crazy. And a lot of people think that that was bravery and courageous. And what they're finding now, as you see with what's going on with the movement to go to South Korea for plastic surgery, yeah, you can go to other countries and get things done by professionals that have far greater technology than what we have here in the US, far way less, like way less. And we're seeing now, because of things like TikTok and Red Note and this ability to speak to one another from other countries, that we are not the superior nation that we've been bullied into believing. We have this superiority complex that really needs to take some notches down. We are all the same, but in some regards, when it comes to evolving and moving forward, making leaps and discoveries, other countries have us beat. Literally, like even Japan and the way that they treat cancer, their stuff is far beyond what we have that's approved here in the US. Like things take a long time here in the US. Other countries are able to create all kinds of solutions that for whatever reason we don't hear. So I really do think that we're at this time in history where you and I need to see all of the things that we did, at least me and everyone on TikTok did by going over to Red Note. We sent a message that said, you're not going to tell us any more lies. But it can't stop with TikTok. I mean, I get a lot of the people on TikTok were like, finally took some action in protest to what was happening with the ban because it personally affected them. And that's the biggest problem that I see that is happening in the world. We don't do anything about injustice, inequality, unless it personally affects us. Because I'm a spiritual mentor and teacher, because of my care and concern for every living being, I've always felt like it doesn't matter if it affects me or not. If it moves me, if it gets my attention, I need to do something about it, whether that's offer to help, offer to support, offer to have a conversation about, offer to share, right? That's always been who I am. It isn't like I'm only going to do something about it if it personally takes something away from me or personally affects me. That's BS. That's selfishness, right? And in a lot of ways, that's narcissism. Me, 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 me. And yet, because it affected people, they're willing to make a stand and protest against the injustice of banning TikTok. Okay, if TikTok sticks around like I feel like it will, at least for the next year, does that mean we just get complacent again? You tell me. I want to know. Those of you who are watching live, put your comments in. If you're going to watch the replay, put your comments in. Does this mean we just get complacent? Or is this a greater call for us to stand up and start questioning all of these laws that have been put into place, quietly slid in without a vote from the public, right? All of these bills, there's a bunch going through in Texas. I don't know how long I'm going to live in Texas if they don't get their crap together. Literally, like a bunch of laws and bills have been passed that take away more rights from women and children. Seriously. I love this. Absolutely not. We still need to band together about everything. Yeah. United we stand. Divided we fall. They have kept us divided on so many issues with so many other countries and each other. And it has only gotten increasingly worse in the last 8 years. And y'all know what happened 8 years ago. And we've got 4 years of it coming in. I hope not 4 years, but who knows? If we all stand up and say no, this is not going to fly with us. Maybe we have a chance at changing it, but it's going to take all of us to become aware, awake, and active, taking action. Exactly. If we want change going silent, we'll do nothing. Probably people fall back to old habits. I stand up. So how about we all hold the vision and intention that this wake-up call, this galvanizing of unity with one another, is the new energy for 2025 that is going to change the game and put the power back in our hands. Across the globe, doesn't matter what country you're from, because every country right now, from Canada to the US to different parts of Europe to Africa to Asia, there is corruption in high levels of government and even local government. We have to stay educated and we have to stand up. And so much of the attitude has been profit over people. We don't have to worry about climate change because we won't be alive to see it. That's the wrong attitude in my book. Wrong attitude. There's karma to pay for all of that in this lifetime and the one beyond. I was very curious to see how if people get interested in, because they're on the China app, like if they get interested in the spirituality of the Chinese people, and the Asian cultures, which their religions and their cultures are much older than the Western culture and the Western religions and Christianity and whatnot. The Western world is, again, trying to say this right, one of the only societies and cultures that does not believe in reincarnation. Asia, China, reincarnation. India, reincarnation. We are one of the only cultures that does not hold to the teachings and understanding that you don't only have one life, you have multiple lives. And whatever lessons and karma you create that goes unlearned when this life completes, you come back and do it again in a different life, right? And that many of the karmic bonds between people are lessons from previous lifetimes that we came here to fix. What do you guys think about that? Because even that, I believe, with what's happening, because of TikTok, will actually hopefully start a broader conversation about spiritual beliefs as well, right? I mean, we've seen the rise of like Sadhguru, um, and a lot of the other Eastern teachings, but because they're still closed social media, and like people in China can't access YouTube, right? There's a lot of countries that they just keep us separate. And it's so funny because what's the narcissist way of remaining in control? Keeping everybody separate. Keeping everybody, don't let them talk or the truth will be revealed. And I feel like that's exactly what's been happening. We've been narcissistically abused by the separation and the lies and the propaganda forever. I studied a bit of Asian ancient culture. I was interested in it. Yeah, I love the Asian culture. You know, whether it's from my roots, which is funny because some Asian cultures and societies don't consider Filipinos as real Asian. In fact, there's a comedian on that I saw on TikTok. She's like, if you're Filipino, you're basically Mexican. I was like, see, that's the kind of conversation that's BS, because then it makes Filipinos feel like we don't belong anywhere. And as someone who's mixed race, Filipino, Portuguese, Hawaiian, like born and raised in the US, there a lot of my relatives, my aunties, which a lot of them are past now, my grandparents and whatnot, they were first generation immigrants. But the reality is we had this big Filipino culture and family, and the next generation, my generation and below, we've all moved everywhere else and we separated. Like, we're not all living in the same place. When I was in California, like, everybody was there. But then when I left California, hard to stay in contact with my cousins, and some of my cousins moved to the East Coast and some of them are still on the island. But to have this attitude that Filipinos are not Asian is just, it cracks me up, right? Where do you belong? But beyond all of what's your race, what's, your heritage, we're human. We're spirits in human form. And we all look slightly different, but we all bleed exactly the same. And here's a reality check that I wish people would get. We all bleed the same. Our organs are all the same. Like, Chinese do not have a different organ count than Caucasians. Africans do not have a different organ count and different added organs or less organs than anybody else. Like, we gotta get to the point where we actually stop with all this crap. Funny, because how many dog breeds are there? And I've never seen a dog be like, you're not my breed. I want nothing to do with you. Like, it's crazy that we as human beings at this day and age, at this point in history, are like that. So, what do we do to change this? What does this mean for you? I want to know. Like, in the last couple of weeks, with the hearings at the Supreme Court, with things that have coming out, with more propaganda, more lies that we've been told, with the awakening of many people who are just asleep to it because it didn't affect them, or so they thought. As far as these bills and laws being passed, what does it mean to you? Food's gotten more expensive. The cost of housing is out of control. Inflation is ridiculous. And the corporations, the greedy power brokers and corporations, do not want to pay livable wages. They are not keeping up with inflation. What does this mean to us? What can we do? I'm not telling you what to do. I want to know from you guys. I'm sure you've all thought about it. We've had this conversation, me and my girls, right? Me and my clients. We've had this conversation where we can see all of the problems, and sometimes we can dream up solutions, but reality is, it is time for especially here in the US, a revolution. It is time for us to protest on all of the fronts of the things that we're complaining about. So here's the thing, in protest of the BS, you're going to see from the 19th through the 26th, at the very least, I'm going dark on all Meta platforms. My business page, my personal page, we're not going to post. We have some stuff scheduled. I'm going to get, already talked to Ashley. I'm going to move them to different dates. That is part of me using my voice in my business and in what I do. So if you're like, where did Bernadette go? I'm not disappearing off this platform. This platform, I have my groups hosted here. I am definitely looking for other options moving forward because I don't want to support the BS with people like the owner of the Meta platforms who thinks if I can't buy it and I can't have it, nobody can. I don't want to support that, right? I don't want to support it. I do have a lot of international friends on here that I don't want to lose contact with. And as of yet, there isn't a centralized platform that everybody's kind of moving to now. A lot of Europeans moved over to Red now because they're like, TikTok without Americans is like pointless, right? I don't know what that answer is. And hopefully TikTok stays, but not all of my followers and friends are over on TikTok. If you are, my name is Bernadette Gold over there. Go follow me, right? Let's stay in contact that way. And then I am on Clapper as of since the weekend, and Bernadette Gold over there. So, and I'm going to be giving away, sneak peek, I'm going to be giving away a hard copy of my book. I have some of the copies from the release of it, and I'm going to be giving away those over on TikToks and probably on Clapper. Yeah, in the upcoming weeks. I have a lot of things planned. So the next thing that I want to share with you guys, I've been working on a project that was born out of my own frustration, restarting my life post-cancer. Not that I'm done with the cancer yet. I don't know. I had an oncology appointment yesterday, and she's like, we're in wait and see mode until Valentine's Day. I'm like, okay. But I don't have any more doctor's appointments until then. So I have a month. Well, I have a 2-week delay, and I have my PET scan, and then I won't find the results out until the 14th. But as I restart my business, I've had a really hard time figuring out a vision for me to go forward towards, because things are so overwhelming from an empathic point of view. Raise your hand, put in the comments if this is you. Like the overwhelming emotional energy and heaviness that has been riding globally for the last couple of months has just been so intense, right? And me being psychic, it's hard for me to get excited for the future when things are so uncertain. There's been such a strong energy of uncertainty. It's like, what do I look forward to? What do I push towards? And so I've had a problem with it. And when I have a hard time, I go to journal, but even journaling wasn't creating an answer for me. So I turned to the tarot. And I use the tarot for myself because the symbology is rich and messages can come through that I'm somehow subconsciously blocking. And in doing so, it opened up the floodgates. And I was like, I know a lot of people. Put in the comments if this is you. I know a lot of people who feel very confused, very stuck because of the uncertainty, and they're having a hard time knowing where to move to. They're not certain about what are they avoiding that's keeping them from what their heart wants. What actions can they take? What actions can you take to move into the direction that is aligned to your higher self? And then what emotions can you embody? So I did a thing. I wrote a tarot guide that I'm releasing to my Hidden Wisdom people for free. and we'll probably include for Charm Life, but I'm going to open it up for sale. Now, Hidden Wisdom's $40 a month. Like, you can cancel at any time. You get a coach with me, you get to be part of the monthly forecast. Plus, there's a bunch of courses in the vault in Hidden Wisdom on building your intuition, on dealing with being an empath, yada, yada, yada. So they get this. I created it for them with them in mind. And what I did was I wrote down the 4 questions that I always have to ask myself to get unstuck. And then I wrote out all 78 tarot cards, upright and reverse, the meanings in answer to that one question. But there's 4 questions. So I repeated that process 4 times. My hope is that in using this guide, you get unstuck, you get clarity, you get realigned to your higher self, and you embody the energy that your heart is calling you to embody. But B, that you begin to develop more of an understanding, deeper understanding of how to read tarot cards. Because when you get a tarot book, generalized meanings and answers. And I've been reading tarot for a very long time, 3 decades. So it's like, for each question, to have the answers with the tarot specifically answer that question can only give you clarity. And I'm also working on a companion journal, but for Hidden Wisdom, I'm going to release the guide before I release the companion journal, and same with Charm Life, because y'all know how to journal and track things. And the thing with companion journals, because it's an online digital product, I have to make it in a PDF that's fillable that you guys can save. So we'll see. We'll see when that comes out. But for sure, I'm going to release that guide. And then if anyone has ideas for other guides, Hidden Wisdom is giving me some ideas for new guides. That's something that I'm going to continue to create, because right now we need all the help we can get, all the tools we can use to get ourselves unstuck. How do you guys feel about that? Excited? Will it be helpful? Even in trying to create a vision for my life moving forward, with what actions can I take to be part of the change that needs to occur on this planet, I will end up throwing those four questions. Because that second question, what am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? Basically, what am I avoiding that's creating an obstacle for me to line up with my heart's desire? Super important. So those are my thoughts for today. I hope we can open this conversation up. I really do. More and more and more. Ashley's saying very excited. Yay. I know, me too. I hope we can have more candid conversations. The one thing I do like about the community that I have built on my own on Facebook is that I do have, my groups hosted there. That may change. I know on Clapper you can create community chats, but I don't know if those can be closed chats. And on my website, I have the ability to create community circles on there, but it's a little glitchy. My host, Kajabi, it's still a little glitchy. And then within TikTok, since it's probably going to stay, I have to figure out how to utilize the tools over on TikTok better. Because I've been sick for the last year, it's been really hard for me to retain knowledge, learn new things and stuff like that, right? And I haven't been doing content over on TikTok consistently or much over the last couple of years. And I'm moving more towards utilizing that platform. I mean, honestly, I added 250 new followers in the last 24 to 48 hours. So it's more active than Facebook, and the notifications actually go out to your followers when you do things like a live. So if you are on TikTok, put it in the comments. Please add me, Bernadette Gold. Not hard to find me. Y'all, you can go to my website and just click follow. And I think on Facebook too, my TikTok thingy's in there. Um, and I may see if I can get my books up and products, like this ebook. I may see if I can get that into the TikTok shop if it actually sticks around, because that would be even easier. But I definitely am going to sell it on my website. I don't know if I'm going to make it available on Amazon, because I've not been super happy about the way Amazon does things, ebooks and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But I want to know what you guys think about this. What's your part in this as we move forward in new energy and breakthroughs in society and consciousness? What's your part? What do you think your part is? What can you do right now to hold the powers that be's feet to the fire, to say no taxation without representation, like BS? We're not putting up with it anymore, because that's where I'm at. I'm like, you keep taking more and more money from us. We're taxed on our income, then we're taxed on gas, and we're taxed on our property, and we're taxed on our groceries. Everywhere you turn, it's a freaking tax. But you're not representing us with these taxes. You're sending our money, calling it humanitarian aid, when in reality it's going to the Taliban to support you getting information about ISIS and whatnot, when then the money gets funneled over to Al Qaeda. Don't believe me? Go Google it. Like 40 or 80, what is it, $87 million a month. Imagine if we kept $87 million a month in the US freaking coffers. What would that be able to pay for? Oh, universal health care, Medicaid for all. How's that work? Right? Seriously. And that's just one of the places that they're sending humanitarian aid. They just passed a bill for Chinese propaganda. I don't remember. It was in the billions to support sending out the message of how the narrative they want us to believe, when seriously, like, China hasn't attacked us on our soil. Hello. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, but they're afraid because China has gained in their economic power. They're stronger than us. So they're afraid they're going to take us over. But at this point, watching the way the Chinese actually get to live and how much they don't have to pay for groceries and medical and the technology they have, is like, well, you guys are doing a better job of taking care of your people. Just saying. Like, you really are doing a better job. Maybe we can learn something from them. I think we can. And not just from them. There's other countries that are equally progressive, like Singapore, which I don't know if you guys watch those hearings with Shu Chu, the CEO of TikTok. They just hammered him there, like, are you from China? He's like, I'm a Singaporean resident citizen. Well, have you ever been a Chinese citizen? He's like, no, I'm a citizen of Singapore. Like, look on the map, dude. You are our leaders and you don't know the difference between Singapore and China? Miss Geography class? Like, oh my God. It just makes us look really stupid on the world stage. And we're not all that stupid. But when our leaders, who supposedly speak for us, act like that, not good. It's bullying, and we have the bully coming into the office in just a matter of days, which definitely concerns me, because I moved to Texas out of Washington, which was a blue state, but like, there was a rise of white supremacists in King County, Washington, where I was living, and I was like, I want to get out of here before it gets worse. And they had defunded the police and all the stuff, right? I don't want to see a repeat of that. And I'm sure many of you, raise your hand if that's true, you don't want to see a repeat of it. So put in the comments, time to wake up if you actually are with me on this. Like, it's time to wake up. We can't repeat what we did 4 or 8 years ago and what we've had to clean up in the last 4 years and still haven't really cleaned it all the way up. I hope, I pray, and it's my intention that love overrides all of the lies, that love overrides all of the fear, that love overrides all of the separation. Seriously. That's what I hope. But we each have to do our part. And I'm going to do mine. I'm going to have these conversations, probably on other platforms where it's not so hard to get people following me and having the conversation. Now, that's the other thing I've learned with TikTok lives. Like, once you get enough people into the conversation, it's amazing how easy it is. Literally how easy it is to keep that conversation going and get the engagement. I don't want a one-way conversation. I want it to go both ways. I like TikTok because you can bring someone on easily to the conversation. And I think that's something that I'm going to focus more and more on. So if you see less of me over here and more of me over there on TikTok and maybe Clapper, that's why. Like, I want to build community, and community is about us joining efforts, having conversations, helping each other out. So I will be studying up on the different platforms and how to use them. Clapper's fairly small, so I may very well have to learn how to use it. Even if TikTok doesn't go away, I'm probably still going to post over there because it's an older audience, and maybe I can help out over there. I love that TikTok allows you to bring people up to have conversations. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not controlled conversations. Like here on Meta and even on YouTube, it's the censorship is real. Like, if they don't like what you're talking about, they just won't promote your stuff, or they'll delete your video. It's not hard to have a conversation over on TikTok. I've jumped on other people's lives and jumped into the comments and started conversations. I really like that aspect of it. So I want to know what you guys think, and where are you? Wherever you are in the world, like, what platforms do you prefer? Even if it is Meta, right? What platforms, which social media apps do you prefer? Because social media has given us one thing, and that's the ability to gather together in one place and have our opinions and our voices and our teachings and information shared. That is what social media has given in real time, and that's what they're against. They want to control it. They want to censor it so that they can, like I said, keep us separate. They don't want the US talking to Chinese citizens. They don't want Chinese citizens talking to US citizens. They don't want us comparing notes. And I think it's a little too late for that. The game has changed. And the reality is, if you keep banning these different platforms, new ones will just keep popping up. Just the way it's going to go, right? TikTok's my favorite. Facebook and Instagram are okay. I only have it for family and you. A lot of people have been telling me that. Like, I only keep Facebook because of you. So if any of you have any suggestions as far as where to move my Facebook communities, my Charm Life group, my Hidden Wisdom group, where to move those to, again, I can create that on my website. And the app for Kajabi is not that hard to use. So give me your direct input on that too. Do you want me to just move it to my website? Do you like it on the platform that you're already hanging out on? And if so, I don't know that you can create a closed community on TikTok. It's really difficult. Citizens in China are not allowed to access social media. They can on Red Note. They have been on Red Note. That's why everybody jumped over there. They can't access Facebook. They can't access YouTube. And they can't access, they have their own TikTok, which a lot of the countries that have banned the apps, like they only get their version, but China doesn't get access to Facebook. I don't think they're missing that much with as much with as much censorship that goes on here on Facebook. I've seen a lot of stuff banned over on Facebook, and the reality is it's easier to reach people on TikTok. For me, it's all been all organic. And on Facebook, I've spent money on ads and have spent more than I've gotten back from them. Where on TikTok, I haven't tried spending money on sponsoring posts and ads, and I may or may not in the future, but I don't have to. Like, it's fairly easy to get conversations going over there. And yeah, so curious for those of you who are in Hidden Wisdom, in Charm Life, plan to get into those communities and want to communicate with each other off of the platform. Where do you want to go? And see, Telegram's an option, but Telegram can be kind of irritating. I will not use WhatsApp. That's a meta app. I'm not going to use it. So any other suggestions and ideas for me to look into that will make it easier for you? Great. We might be able to get it over on Clapper. I don't know. I know a lot of these apps are starting to add features. They just need us to tell them what features we want. So Facebook is the best for groups as far as Hidden Wisdom and Charm Life, but definitely look around. Yeah, so far it's been the best because I literally can broadcast just into the group and it's privatized from every other group and you can't see it. So far Meta has that. I hope that if TikTok stays around, they create that kind of a deal. Not enough people are over there. I want to be on the platform as far as our groups and communities that I've created is on the platforms that people are actually using. So that's just my take on it, right? And with like YouTube, it's all monetized stuff. It's like, you already pay me on my website. I don't want to have to yeah. So we'll see. I think there will be more solutions to those problems. For now, I'm keeping them on Meta. But again, as far as our public posts, we're going dark from the 19th through the 26th. And that's just to solidify the message about, the ban, the TikTok ban. And Zuck has learned an important lesson on what that does to his stocks. Tesla stocks have been dropping for months now and now Meta. So all the Meta products. But all right, I will see you guys later. I'm going to get back to work on formatting this book and then we've got Charm Life 2.9. Censorship will be banned on Facebook. No, that's not what he said. Go read really what he said. What he said was fact checking will be banned. They're going to leave it up to people putting notes on their profiles about whether they believe something. It's just going to make the infighting that was going on 8 years ago worse. Like they had fact checking going on over the last 8 years. Now they're taking it away. So online bullying, and that's one of the reasons I'm moving away from Meta is because Instagram, there's a lot of nastiness. Facebook too, in different arenas. There's a lot of negativity. And one of the reasons why I really want to ultimately move away from even using the platforms. I probably will never get rid of my accounts because from what my kids tell me, with all the photos that I've uploaded over the last 15 years, if they ever want to see something, they just need to search my photos because I've uploaded my albums and it's easy for them. Thank you, Ashley. But it's an interesting thing because my kids don't really use the Meta platforms. Brindy does on Instagram, but Instagram she's lost some interest in as well. So again, we're all looking for someplace else to kind of make our home where we can communicate with one another. and there's just a mass exodus off of the Meta platforms. And Twitter, I haven't even logged into Twitter in years. I don't plan to. I don't like that platform. People are moving to Blue Sky, which is like a replacement for Twitter, but the whole like text only sort of 165 characters, I'm not real fond of. I don't think it creates a deep connection. That's why I like video content and I like watching and consuming video content. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. So send me your suggestions. I'd be very, very interested in finding out, and then answer the question like, what is this calling you to do? What in the revelations that are coming out and the laws that are being passed, especially against women here in Texas, like the new bills are trying to pass that makes a woman divorcing a man illegal. Like, really? Really? So a man can do whatever he wants to a woman. He can beat her. He can really? Can't leave him? Huh. That's interesting. It's that sort of stuff we need to keep our eyes on and do something about and speak out against. Really. There's a lot of that and we need to pay more attention. I think we've been pretty apathetic when it comes to what laws have been put through over the last decade or more. And now we I think are coming to the conclusion, no, we got to be more involved. So what's that mean to you? Very curious. Drop a comment. I'll see you guys later.